2 or 3 years down the road. I graduated and finally got my accounting degree, moved to Atlanta, got a job over there with a fashion photographer, being his assistant. So now I'm actually learning how to really light things and how to use big cameras and 4x5s and all this stuff. Meanwhile, my brother, who's 10 years younger than me, starts school at UGA. And he's a bass player. So, and his buddy, who was a drummer, was there. They were roommates. And he's like, I got a band. He was afraid. I mean, he hadn't been there 2 weeks, and he calls me up and says, I got a band that I'm in. I want you to come over and hear us play. So I come over. They opened for OOK at the 40 Watt Club, and the band was called Dream So Real. Shot some pictures of them, made them a little press kit, and they didn't know anything about trying to get started. So I'm like, well, I know the R.E.M. guys, and their office is right here across from the arch at the old varsity building. So I go into the R.E.M. office. I'm like, hey, my brother's got this little band, and they're trying to play out of town. They want to go to North Carolina. Can you tell me who to call and all that? And I'm like, yeah. So they give me club names to call. They tell me, like, all right, remember the old days? You just take a picture and a tape and stick it in an envelope and send it around, and, well, we don't have any recordings, so, well, there's this guy named John Keane. You need to call him. He's got a studio. We go to John Keane. Oh, we don't have any money, we got about $200. Okay, come on in. So go over there, record. Well, we don't know anything about recording. Well, Peter Buck happened to be over there. He goes, well, I'll help. I've been to one of the Dream So Real shows. I like them. So he gets in there with us at John Keane's, and we record some demos, and then we send them off. And then he's like, I got a buddy up in Hoboken that has a record label named Coyote Records. His name is Steve Fallon. You should call him. So I call Steve Fallon. Yeah, okay, I send him the tape. And you need a booking agent. So we got these guys called Venture Booking. And there's a guy named Pat Magnarella and some guy named Frank Riley. They're booking all these little bitty bands. There's a guy, they had some called The Replacements, and one called Soul Asylum, and one called Husker Du, and which none of these I'd ever heard of, but like, these are good bands, this will be good for y'all. So Peter goes with us over to Atlanta studio, and we record a single, a real single, not just demos. Turns out John Keane was actually really, really good. But we went and recorded this thing in Atlanta, Everywhere Girl and Whirl, put that out, and Dream So Real is off and running. The booking agent books tours up and down the East Coast, out to Texas, out to LA, all over the place, up to Canada, on that one little single. We didn't even have we were like R.E.M. with Radio Free Europe. All we had was that one single. Next thing we know, we play at CBGB's, and some CBS lady that was there to see another band happened to be in the audience and saw us and thought we were great. Next thing we know, we're signed to Arista Records, and then we put go to LA and record a record. These record company people in New York found out that I was a photographer. I knew them already because I'd gone into their offices when Dream So Real was shopping for a record deal. And they, like, hey, you're down there in Georgia where all these bands that we're signing are coming from. Can you shoot pictures of them? So I wound up shooting Georgia Satellites and Black Crows and more R.E.M. and more B-52s and Guadalcanal and Michelle and I don't know who all else. Seemed like a lot. Dream So Real went and toured it in Europe and toured all over the country several times. When I was their manager and off doing shows with them, we played with all kind of good bands. We opened for ZZ Top. We played with 10,000 Maniacs a lot, Replacements a good bit. Now here we are, and Randall Bramlett was from Jessup, which is where I was from. We got to know each other in Athens and got to be friends, and then he introduced me to Chuck Leavell. Chuck got me on to shooting the Rolling Stones, and just like always, one thing leads to another. You never know where the web is going to take you next. I get asked that a lot, and all I can say is it's the most wonderful career I could have ever chosen. And if I had to do it all over again, I would do the exact same thing. The only difference would be I would shoot a lot more pictures. I wouldn't be so lazy. When I was in Athens in college, going to see R.E.M. and all that, half the time I would leave my camera at home because I wanted to just party. And I should have been shooting pictures the whole time. And I should have jumped in the van with the Sex Pistols after the show and gone on the rest of the tour with them, you know. I was just too lazy, and I was a kid and didn't know I was young. But now I'm having the opportunity to go back and dig through all my old shots and my old negatives and find things that I never even noticed before. I went back and looked at the shots of the Clash that I went back in the dressing room with them after the show. There wasn't even security, and this was right before London Calling album came out. I went in the dressing room and just shot them in there talking to their girlfriends and stuff and having a beer, and I never even looked at those negatives before until just the other day. I pulled them out and I'm like, oh my God, and I printed a few of them, and they were just incredible. So anybody that's thinking about being a photographer, all I can say is get a camera and start shooting and save everything. And don't be afraid to go up to somebody and ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is when they're going to say no. I mean, try to, if there's a security guy there, see if you can sneak through. So you have to embrace all the new technology that comes along, and don't be lazy, and get out there and don't be afraid to push the boundaries and go for it.